Perfect. So I am so glad now that we have a successful connection to the database. Let's now try to post some data to the database so we can see them in the MongoDB cloud. In the relational database previously, we saw that the relation between the tables. But here in MongoDB, it's quite different. We can consider the naming table is a collection. So as we see here, we have already a database, and inside this database, there is a collections. So we can say the collection is a table in relational database. I deleted the database which we created before. I'm going to create a new one with a table, let's call it a products. So for example, we said that our database name is eShop database. Products is the collection name. So I have the database, eShop database, and inside that there is a table or a collection. We can call it a products. Okay, great. So now we have, let's say, this collection. Let's post data to this collection. So in Postman, as we saw before, we have here this object. Let's push it to this database. But first, what we need to do in the Node.js application? We need to create a model with Mongoose. Model is the same thing as a collection. So we can say in MongoDB, it's called collection, and in Node.js, it's called model. So we need to create a model of product. This model will contain the columns which we needed for the product. For example, the name or the image, or for example, the quantity of the product in the storage. In Mongoose, this is called schema. And if we go there to the documentation, we see that Mongoose has a lot of flexibility here. So we can create schemas, for example, blog schema as we see here, and we can put the fields, title, author, body, and there is type of it. And every field has some options. So you can specify, for example, date.now. For example, when this record or this document is created, then we will see that it takes automatically the date of time of current time. So let's start simple. So let's first create the product model. I go to the application, and after, let's say, use and before the APIs, I create, for example, a constant, call it product schema. And this product schema will use Mongoose library and schema. And this schema accepting an object, and this object will take the fields as we saw here in the documentation. So we have a new schema, and here we can list our fields. So let's add our fields which we had before. So I say I need the name, which type is string, and for example I need also image, which type also string. It will contain the URL of the image. And let's add also something like count in stock. Count in stock. And this count in stock will be a number. There are a lot of types. You can check the documentation of Mongoose, and we will see in the course the different types which we will use for our webshop application. After having this schema, we need to create the model. So I say constant product. Normally, the models start with capital letter. So we can say product, which is mongoose.model, and the model called or the collection is called product, and using the product schema which we had before here. So I say product schema and I press save. Now we have the product schema and the product model already defined. So now we need to, for example, with posting request, we need to receive this post data from the front end, which is, we can say Postman or any other application like Angular or React. And then we need to receive this data by the back end, analyze it, and push it to the database. To do so, we need to create a new product, for example, of that model. So let's do that. We can say const product, and this product is new product which we had before. But what are the fields of this product? So the product is this model which we had before, and we are going to add the fields of that product, like the name and the image and the count in stock. So I will go here and I will receive the request which I got. With this request, I get the body. And with the body, within the body, I am sending here ID, name, image, and I can send also count in stock. It will be exactly the same naming here, which comes from the front end. So the front end and the back end must agree on the same naming for the fields and the objects which are sent to the back end. So here I say the name is request.body.name. Image is request.body.image. Count in stock is also from the request.body.count in stock. Now we have the model ready, so we just need to save it in the database. So to do that, we can say product dot, and it had a method called save. Save, it means that save it to the database. If we check this save method, it's returning a promise with the document. So we can say then it's returning a promise. So we can say created product. So this is the product after it got created in the database. So it's a raw method. So we can say here response dot status that it's successful connection or successful creation of the database of the document. So I can say here dot JSON. So I want to return back the created product to see it in the front end. And in case of error or anything can happen, we can say catch the error, and this error we can say response.status, for example 500. It's the response code for errors in the HTTP. .json, I create, for example, my own object. I say error is the error which I got, and for example, I say if it's success or no. Maybe I can use this variable in the front end, for example, to end some loading or go back to home page if there is some failure. We already sent that product, so let's delete this part here and start our backend. npm start. We have it now ready and the connection is ready. Let's post some data here. Nice, it's posted. We got ID, name, image. So if we go to our collection in MongoDB, let's press refresh here. We got the same data here. Let's try again by adding count in stock. I say, for example, 500 pieces in my stock. I send it. I created a new product with the same name, and it's returning the ID of created product. Going back to MongoDB, refresh again. Nice. I have also two products already posted through my API in the backend. And we notice here that it's logged and successful. Let's make an error. For example, to make an error, let's make this field as required. So database will recognize that this count in stock is required field. So it will respond with error that you didn't send, for example, the count in stock. To do that, we go back to the schema and we change this to an object. The type of this object is number, and required is true. So let's save it and run our API, but without count in stock. And if we validate the JSON and send again, we will see that we received an error. Error and success false or failed. So in this case, I would say the error is validator error, path count in stock is required. So the database replied to me that this field is required. When I do it again, it's success. So now we have posted a data to the backend. Let's create a GET request. So I want to get this data, display the product information in the front end, for example. So to do that, we need to create a GET request. So creating a GET request, just simply we change this to GET, and we need to specify the products list. So let's, for example, get the all product list. And if I send a request, I'm getting the old API which we had before. So let's change it to have it from the database. To do that, we go to the GET request, and then we replace this constant and call it, for example, product list. And I call just the model itself, which we created before, and find. That's it. So I say const product list, and the response will get or send me the product list. Let's try that. We do a send. We notice that we got error here. The error is because that find method is returning a promise. And here, when I am sending the response, maybe this product list is not ready yet, and I didn't get it yet. So I need to wait until this product list is ready, and then I can send it with the response. There is another way than doing, for example, .then and .catch. There is something we can do with await keyword. And in the await keyword, it requires always async method. So I put this method here, and it's async, and I have await here. So in this case, when I call the product list, then it will wait, it will be filled, and then I send the response to the front end. So let's do it again now. I am saving and then sending the request. We see that we got the data here. We didn't get the error anymore. So this is because of that we return a promise. We should wait for the database to send us the response, and then we show it in the front end. So maybe you will ask me how I can detect the problem or issues. It's very simple. I can say if product list or no product list, if there is no product list, then I can say response.status 500, and for example with JSON I can say error or success false. So if there is any mistake happened, for example connection or anything, I can simply return error with a success if this list is empty. So we have two different ways to express and catch errors from the database. So I can say here find, I can put await and async, or I can do it with normal promises, like for example I say save .then and .catch. Of course this is more code saving. We did this only in 2 lines, and that's very good. So from now on we will use always async and await. That's all for now with Mongoose. Let's do some refactoring. It's very nice to have the routes in some files and the models in another file, so we can have more organization of our code of the backend.